Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're going to be breaking down the 13-game main slate on Tuesday for Draftkings. It's a large slate for us here, but no true weather concerns that we have to be worrying about, no postponement risks at all. The only weather that is going on is just a lot of wind. We have a handful of games here that do have some double-digit wind. And a lot of it is blowing straight out. So there's games that are going to be favoring the batters. I'm not going to list them all right now just because there actually are so many of them. But always make sure you're paying attention to the weather, any COVID-related news as well as it goes on. So let's just dive right into the pitchers here. And we have some serious misprices going on in pitching here today. But we'll start right up at the top here with Jacob DeGrom at 11.8. Now, DeGrom's only had one start in the past month. He had that side injury. He did have one rehab game down in the minors, and it was like way down in the minors. I think it was like 4 tiers below the major leagues here, and he was throwing like 102. He was through 3 innings, struck out 8 of the guys. I would have loved to see it. But at 11.8, he's got to be a top option, obviously, given the matchup here as well. Colorado, their WRC plus, which is that stat that everybody loves right now. 100 is average. So if you're 105 WRC plus, you're 5% better than average. Colorado is dead last in this metric against right-handed pitching. They're at 69. So 31% worse than the average team so far this season against right-handed pitching. So just flat out terrible. If you have some concern with DeGrom and the hip or the side issue that he is having, it's understandable, but I think he's clearly a top option here on this slate. But as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of kind of misprices here in pitching, so we'll get to those in a second. Max Scherzer is right below him at 10.7. Scherzer, he's got that strikeout upside that we all know. He's been doing very well lately. He has a slight issue, though, letting up the long ball. Over 22% of his hits so far against the season were for a home run. Now he's going up against a Cincinnati team that has just been launching them with the likes of like Winker and Castellanos lately. So I'm a little hesitant just because Scherzer's weakness is kind of be exposed here against a power hitting team. Do I still think he's a great play? Absolutely. But I think there's better options here for cash, but for GPP, let it ride. Absolutely. We know what his ceiling can be. So go ahead there. Musgrove, he's got a 34% strikeout rate this season. He had that no-hitter a while back, and then he kind of fell off for a little bit, but he's back apparently. His last start, he put up 40 DK points against Colorado. He did face this Milwaukee team earlier on in the season. And let me scroll down and see if it's there. Yeah, earlier on in the season, he had 13 strikeouts for 34 DK points. So another solid option here. This slate is loaded with stud pitchers, with high strikeout pitchers. So we got a lot to choose from here. That game against Milwaukee earlier in the month, it didn't have Yelich. He's back now. Is that going to make much of a difference? Probably not in the grand scheme of things. But I think Musgrove's another top play and priced a little low. The other guy who was priced just way too low, Corbin Burns at 9.1K. Burns has 9 or more strikeouts in every single start so far this season for him. So 9 or more strikeouts in every single start. It's a 44% strikeout rate. San Diego, while they do have only a 20% strikeout rate as a team, he faced them last month and struck them out 10 times for 34.5 DK points. So DK had him in like the mid 10,000 range, and then he only put up 9 strikeouts in each of his last 3 games, and they said, we got to drop his salary down to 9.1. So he's just way too cheap. I understand San Diego doesn't strike out a lot. They can be a scary offense, but I'm going to go with a 9.1 Corbin Burns here as one of the better options on the entire slate. But he's still not the most grossly mispriced pitcher on the slate. All these other guys kind of in the middle here, I'm not too interested in. Kluber, Civale going up against Detroit. They have been a better offense as of late, but you could look at him. Kluber coming fresh off that no-hitter. And I went and looked up all the stats for the pitchers in their game after their no-hitter so far this season. So Kluber pitched the 6th no-hitter for the season. I went back to the previous 5 guys and see how they did the game after. And it's kind of startling. In the game following the no-hitter in the 5 games, they're only averaging 4.2 inning pitch in the game. So 4.2 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and only 5 strikeouts. So not great stats there. So 8.4K, also going up against a tough Toronto team. Probably going to be passing on Kluber here, fresh off his no-hitter there. But the guy I will be targeting way down here is Gossman at 7.2K. Gossman has allowed 1 or fewer earned runs in every start but one of them. You can just look through the game logs here as I scroll down. It's incredible what he's done. His floor is amazing. He's in the mid-20s all the way up to near 40. His strikeouts, 8, 12, 7, 6, 11. He's doing amazing this season. And Draftkings has taken his salary from 9.3 and dropped it down to 7.2 because he threw up a 37-point game and a 31-point game. So I don't know what's going on with the algorithm here. I know he's going against Arizona, and they are a better offense, but 7.2 is just way too cheap. He's going to be extremely popular on the slate tonight. So Gossman definitely needs to be put into your lines here. If you don't want Gossman and you don't want to eat all that chalk, you could go down another 1,000 to Heaney here. He could be a pivot off of Gossman down in the lower tier range. We know what his ceiling can be. His floor is kind of scary, but he's going against Texas as a left-handed pitcher who Texas struggles against. They struggle against that left-handed pitching. And his floor is scary, but his ceiling is great. His ceiling is double-digit K upside, 30 points or higher. And at 6.2, if you're going to get me a guy whose ceiling is over 30 with double-digit strikeouts, sign me up. Sign me up. I think he's a phenomenal GPP play here and a great pivot off of Gossman. So really, those are like the 6 or 7 pitchers, however many I mentioned there, who are going to be kind of on my radar, and I think should be on your radar as well as really the top options on the slate here. Looking at the bats, first team that I'm going to mention here is going to be Minnesota going up against Baltimore and Dean Kramer. We've been picking on Kramer here for a while now. And he just lets up so many home runs. He's allowing 2.65 home runs per 9 innings. And that rate would put him as, let me say it this way. Trevor Williams last year led the league in home runs allowed. He was at 2.6 home runs per 9. So Kramer's at 2.65 right now. So he's letting up a lot of home runs this season, and now he's going up against those power Minnesota bats who are banged up. They are injured, so we need to make sure we're paying attention to the injury news and what lineup they do put out there. Cruz has been out for a couple of days here, same with Polanco. So we want to make sure that you're paying attention to see if they're placed into the lineup. Kepler, he's been out, undisclosed injury, so I don't know what's going on with him. But if he starts at 3.9 in that lefty-righty matchup, power bat, I think he's a great play. Reyes at 3.2 is very cheap, a great value play. Kirilloff at 4,000. Kirilloff finally cooled off This game here, he has been on a slight heater. So they say, I mean, you can just look at these game logs here, 34, 14, 20, 18, 14, 7. He was on fire. So he gets that lefty-righty matchup against Kramer tomorrow as well. And he has 4 home runs in that small little stretch. So Minnesota Power Bats, I think, are going to be a top option tomorrow. Another team I'll give you is Tampa Bay going up against Keller in Kansas City. I think it's Keller. DraftKings tells me it's Keller, but MLB.com does not say it's Keller right now, and that is still to be determined. So who knows? But if it is Keller, those Tampa Bay lefty bats, I think, are going to be great. Choi, he left the game today. That was kind of a bummer. So I don't know what his injury is going to be looking like, but guys like Lowe, Meadows, Wendell hit a grand slam today. Wendell, speaking of heaters with that last guy, Wendell in 3 of his past 8 games, you can see it here, 3 of his past 8 games, he has 30 or more DK points. That's incredible. That's incredible. So now he's going to be going up against a bad pitcher in a nice lefty-righty matchup while he's doing that. And there's a super cheap option here if he gets the start in Walls at 2.2K. Top guy prospect here. So Taylor Walls could be a great option for you if you need the salary relief. I don't think you're going to need it based on, you know, how they lowered the pitching prices for certain guys. But I think he's another fine option here. Boston, Atlanta, I think it's got the highest over/under total at the moment right now on the entire slate. So you're going to be seeing some runs scored in that game. And then the Yankees going up against Mats. I think they're in a great spot as well. Guys like Urshela aren't too expensive at 3.9. Torres, he's been on fire lately. So Yankees, I like their bats as well. So, I mean, it's a large slate, 13 games. There's going to be plays that I didn't talk about that are also in great spots here. So I'm just kind of giving you a rundown of who I like to start here. So just to kind of recap everything, DeGrom, great play going against a terrible Colorado team. Scherzer, worried about the home runs going against Cincinnati, but the ceiling is definitely there for him. Musgrove, I think he's slightly too cheap. Burns, way too cheap at 9.1K. Kluber, I'm fading him off of his no-hitter. Track record for guys after a no-hitter, not great. Gossman is just criminally under-owned. So he's going to be extremely, extremely popular here. And then for the bats, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, this Atlanta-Boston game, and the Yankees. So we want to do we can do a little bit of lineup building here. I'll just show you how you can kind of pretty much fit in whoever if you go the cheaper route in pitcher. So if you put in Gossman and you put in Burns, let's put in some of these Tampa Bay bats here. So if we went and put in, we'll put in Lowe and we'll put in Wendell. Yeah, we'll put in Wendell. We'll put in Walls just to get some of that salary relief there. And then we go ahead, we look at Minnesota here, and we decide, hey, you know, Gerloff's been on fire. Arias could be leading off. I mean, I'm not going to give you the whole line here, but look at this. You got 5,000 remaining after making that line there with all the power bats in great matchups. So I don't think salary is going to be an issue at all. Obviously, if you go up to DeGrom, things are going to be getting a little bit tighter. If I'll take Burns out, I'll throw in DeGrom. And even still, what are we going to land at? I think we're going to be close to, 4.1K. So salary is not going to be too much of an issue here. So you can pretty much play who you want. There's going to be value out there. There's always value out there. You just gotta search for it. So that kind of wraps things up here today. Good luck in your contests, and hit that thumbs up button. drop a comment. It really does help us with the engagement, kind of boost the ratings, and it really helps us get these videos out to you for free as well. So we really do appreciate that. Hope to see you guys in the Discord here shortly. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next video, and good luck in your contest tonight.